What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bluegrass State of Mind, the show where three college roommates talk life, sports, and all the ridiculous things that happen in an apartment we like to refer to as Room 302. We're bringing you stories, hot takes, and the kind of late-night debates that probably should have stayed in the group chat.
So grab your headphones, sit back, and get ready for a wild ride through our past college life, sports, and everything in between. Let's get into it. This is Bluegrass State of Mind.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. Some sad news for those listening. Mason and Colton and myself, we have decided to part ways moving forward. Nah, I'm just kidding. We're kidding. They are gone on a business trip, so we have Mr. Dylan Beckham with us tonight, co-hosting, going to help me out with tonight's episode. Dylan, you've been on here before. Thanks for hopping on.
Not a problem. Appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah, it's a great time to be here because we got plenty to talk about. Really, there's going to be one central theme here, and kind of elephant. Go ahead and knock that out of the room, Mr. Milan Monchilovich. That's pretty much what all this episode is going to be about, just kind of unpacking everything because, it's big news, big time news. So somehow the number one transfer in the portal is still available, DB, and Mr. Milan Monchilovich. And guess what? Kentucky still has an open spot. Kentucky is available. This could be a landing spot for him. I guess before we get into, because we've kind of talked the past couple episodes, not in depth, we touched on it for about 15 minutes, but going into the transfer portal, did you have any, thoughts about Milan Monchilovich, or did it kind of maybe more so with probably most of Big Blue Nation, who we're targeting, that's who we really start to look at and kind of peel back that onion, look a little bit deeper, or has maybe he been on your radar from the jump? What's your initial thoughts on Milan Monchilovich? Because I know you've not been on here, so I want to get your thoughts on the whole situation, just in general, before it really got okay, we could get this guy. So before it even got to that point, what did you know about him? Was it a guy that you're like, hey, that would be a perfect fit? Just talk to me.
Well, even before, because I think last year was kind of the year he really blew up. Like everybody, he made a name for himself last year. But even the year before that, of course, I've said it before on here. I love Otzelberger, so I watch a lot of Iowa State games.
Mm-hmm.
So I've watched him for 2 years, and I've always been a big fan of him. Just one of those guys that you kind of tend to follow because of the way he plays. He's got the European style. He can shoot the lights out of it. But honestly, I mean, when the season ended, he was not a guy that I was like, oh, yeah, he'll probably enter the transfer portal. I mean, they just went – I mean, they beat us. And then, I figured once he declared for the draft, I was like, yeah, I mean, he's gonna get drafted for sure. But then when Kentucky's name got brought up, I was like, why does this make any sense? And it kind of brings me to the point of the whole NIL thing is he's played 2 or 3 years at Iowa State. They've had good runs, and now he's going to possibly come to a team that they just dog walked in the NCAA tournament. But hey, bring him on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bring him on. And at this point, with the Stokes money gone and the rumors of how much we were going to pay him, open it up to this guy. Let him, and I do think he would be, because as it stands right now, I don't feel like there's that guy on the team. I mean,
right.
I do think it's been better than what I originally thought. But if he came, I mean,
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, because I wrote some notes down about that. And, a lot of people, that if you get online or if you hear talks, especially your real big time Pope lovers, not that we're saying we're not big time Kentucky lovers, but specifically your Pope lovers trying to find every opportunity to be optimistic, which I love, but at the same time, sometimes you just got to be realistic. But you hear a lot about, well, what about Cam Williams? What about Braden Hawthorne? And we've talked a little bit about that before, but DB, I feel like the thing about those two players is it's centralized around the unknown. You got Cam Williams, who we really just didn't get a full outlook of him playing his A-plus game and maybe potentially what he could be given the opportunity. Because when he got hurt, that
Mhm.
was whenever he started kind of rolling. Like, it wasn't maybe 1 or 2
Yeah.
games that he was starting, playing a lot more minutes, like Pope giving him that opportunity, his reps getting up, and, like, we were finally starting to see that growth, and then all of a sudden he gets hurt, really never made a strong comeback, tried it in the SEC tournament and the NCAA, but obviously he just wasn't himself, been out for over a month. So that's kind of the unknown. And then the biggest question mark heading into next season still is Braden Hawthorne. You can't sit there and kind of doubt, like, or not doubt. I guess that's a poor usage of a word. I guess question maybe is a better word of, like, okay, if he was that good, clearly we needed that type of player last year at that 3-4 spot that could go get a bucket. And we've heard, talks about people inside UK athletics of how he was performing in practice. And I know we're talking about practice. I know, I get it. But at the same time, when you hear that, you start to question, like, man, we really could have used him last year, it felt like. So if he really was that, then, like, why didn't we just strip the red shirt? Because it wasn't like it was a at the end of the year thing. Like, it was dead middle of the season, getting into SEC play, that we most definitely could have used him. So you bring up that point there, and I, I agree. It's like that is a position going into this season that now that Monchilovich is in the talks, like, we just don't know. So bringing him in, DB, we know what Monchilovich can bring. I mean, I've got the stats right here. The man averaged 16.9 points last year, 3.1 rebounds, 1 assist. He played 30 minutes a game. He shot 50.6% from the field and 48.7 from three land. He's 87.8% shooter from the free throw line. He hit 263 pointers. That's like 3.7 makes per 7.5 attempts a game. I mean, like, DB, is there any player that you could have drawn up that fits Mark Pope and his system better?
No, absolutely not. And I mean, it's starting to feel like I don't know how to put it. I mean, for him to still be available to us this late, I mean, he just withdrew. I mean, at the horn, pretty much, from the NBA. But no, 100%. I mean, we know how Pope likes to play. We're not inside out type, really. Let it fly type mentality. And last year, I mean, that's kind of what hurt us. I mean, unless the inconsistency of it. Colin Chandler got hot, but um, even then, later in the season, when he started to struggle, that's when we started to struggle. But as far as you're talking about Cam Williams and Hawthorne, I still think Cam Williams is going to be really good next year. But once again, we still, I need to see it, and I don't like listening to like people inside UK Athletics saying, "Oh, well, this guy," and it's the same thing with Hawthorne. Like, we didn't see him at all. All you got is his high school tape, and
Right.
you can't go off anything off of that. And I'm excited to see Hawthorne play, but you can't rely on it. Once you get into SEC play, I mean, the guy's still. I mean, people could compare him a little bit to Brandon Ingram, just stature wise. Brandon
Mhm.
Ingram obviously was 6'9" or whatever, but just his play style, mid range. But I'm anxious to see him play. But landing a guy like Milan, I mean, is just.
Oh, it's huge.
I
It's a
mean,
complete it could change. And I know that, let's just call a spade here. You are not a big Pope guy. Uh,
no
but
support why he's still
right, right,
here,
right, right.
but
Your support, yeah, for sure. But I mean, but DB, like, we're talking like, and I feel I don't want to just get a hop on the train, but there are few guys. Tyron Stokes was one of those guys. Milan Monchilovich is a guy I truly believe can be a difference maker on if we see a Mark Pope year 4. I mean, because you add him to the equation to this team, do I think that we are an absolute Final Four team ticket right now? Book it? No. Well, it definitely helps and increases those chances. I think we become, instead of outside the top 25, I think we're a top 10, 15 team in the country when we're playing at our best, maybe top 8. Like, it just, when you get those stats. Now, obviously, he's got to come and do that at Kentucky because, I mean, it is a little different, the expectations, everything that comes with being at Kentucky. However, though, it comes back to exactly what you're getting out of this guy. There are no question marks about the Braden Hawthorne, the Cam Williams. Can he be this? Can he do it? You're getting that. I mean, the guy has proven it at Iowa State, and it wasn't like a rinky-dink Iowa State team. They were a very good quality team.
And a tough conference.
Right. And yeah, in the Big 12, a tough conference too. Well, I love that you went ahead and you kind of, I guess you're reading my notes through the screen, but you talked about how the system itself. So Momchilovich has made some statements, and here we go. When you read these statements, you're just sitting there like, okay, he's going to be a Wildcat. I mean, these statements, and you don't want to jump the gun, but man, after hearing recently, now this is all intertwined. I'm going to shorten. I'm just going to say some of the highlights. I want to hear your thoughts on it. He stated in an interview, and I quote, "I think Kentucky would be a good fit. Obviously, went against Pope at BYU his first year, and I loved how his team played. I really liked the way they played." Now, this was in reference to Mark Pope at his BYU year. And then he said Kentucky, speaking of for Mark Pope, he said Kentucky last year, he didn't have enough shooters around him to really coach. I feel like the way he wanted, but I think if I were to choose Kentucky, that would be a good fit for me. I feel like I'd be a great player for him, and he be a good coach for me.
I mean, it's right there. That's what it feels like, And the thing about it is with him is now I think Zoom Diallo, as the roster current stands, that's our guy, But with Milan, I mean, that's his team. That's going to be his team. Everything's going to run through him, or it should, But I think with him as well, him being a good fit, I think it also will open up the door for Cam Williams and Hawthorne to be more relaxed. They don't have the pressure of, oh God, I got to go out here and I got to get 15 if we're going to do anything.
Right.
But
and even your Alex Wilkins. I mean, I know you said Zoom Diallo, but I mean, talking about how it's opening the door, DB, I think that when you come to Kentucky, there is a different type of pressure. There just is. And what happens is when you have a Milan Monchilovich who does come to Kentucky, that kind of changes everything in the sense of your Alex Wilkins, your Zoom Diallo, your Braden Hawthorne, your Cam Williams. They don't really or even Malachi Marino, I guess. We're even not mentioning him. They don't have that perception of, okay, I've got to be the Batman. You know what I mean? It allows them, and maybe there's just not that pressure that there may have been if we don't get Milan Monchilovich. But if we do, then it's kind of like, okay, like you said, this is going to be his team, and that's okay. You see a bunch of that in any sport, that you see people thrive in the positions that they're at because of just that weight. It's not really targeting on them as if it would be if we didn't get Milan Monchilovich. So I think that that's a really, really important thing. If we can get him, what it does for these other guys and how that may elevate their game as well. But ultimately, I think the biggest thing for me when I read that statement is that the word fit. When he said Kentucky, that he thinks that it would be a good fit for me. So that tells me, A, he knows exactly what this roster looks like. He's looking at it. He sees okay, looks to me like their 1-2 guard is good. They got the center back in Marino, the lottery pick for next year. I've got a Justin McBride at the 4, or Usme, however you want to say, isn't it? He has seen this roster. And he's like, okay, I could see myself fitting in that system and with these guys. And 2, I think that he's obviously had talks with Mark Pope, and he acknowledges that, hey, last year, Mark Pope maybe just didn't have the type of players that he was used to having and I guess would always go get. It was not his traditional style, and ultimately it turned out that just he kind of tried doing something different and it didn't work out. So I think that it's real. Milan Monchilovich has done his homework and he knows exactly what's at stake there. And also, like you said, we have the money. So with all those factors in play, it's almost as if it's just like it's in the writing, right? I mean, like I don't want to jump the gun, but I mean, like it's got to be right.
Maybe this was his end game. He knew it all along. Maybe he did a little tampering. Dark Pope. But you mentioned something about and I'm not going to get off topic here with Milan, but Marino coming back is a big deciding factor for a guy like this, because
Oh
that was
yeah,
really that was kind of really the only area that really I was starting to get extremely concerned. I mean, there
oh
was one
shoot,
guy on the roster over 6'8", and it was Frank,
Frank the
whatever his
Tank.
last name. Yeah, Frank the Tank, who's been injured like 5 out of the last 6 years. Now the guy is a mountain of a man, but I mean, he's been hurt a lot. You know.
I think that I just I don't want to downplay how important it is for Mark Pope. I don't think anybody's downplaying it, but like for this opportunity for another big fish to be right at the end, like right in the hands of Mark Pope. This is it. Like you have another opportunity, and we've talked and talked and talked about that. Now, I do also, though, want to get into this as we're talking about Milan Monchilovich and kind of unpacking, just for the viewers who, if you have not watched Milan Monchilovich and you're hearing us talk about this guy, don't get it mixed up. Milan Monchilovich is not a Tyron Stokes. Milan Momcilovic is not I guess, who would be another, a Cooper Flag, like that's like Milan Momcilovic. If you watch his highlight tape, it's pretty much nothing but threes. He will make a couple of moves, but here's what the biggest key is he makes them. He makes them. Like I mean, like it's not. He's just not. I mean, the man shot it at a clip at 48.7% from three. If you're not a basketball guru, DB, when you have a knockdown shooter like that, I mean, look at Kobe Bryant. What does that do for your offense in general? Like based on, I mean, you've played ball all of your life. Like how much easier from a coaching perspective? You're coaching right now. When you have that and it opens the floor, like I guess the impact that he will have, because I just don't want, and I'm gonna let you talk about that. I just don't want people to think like, oh my goodness, these guys think like he's the next, like he's not going to go into the NBA and be this all-star. But he reminds me of just those college greats that like they don't transition to the NBA and they're fantastic right away. They may do some time, but in college, they are great. And that's the kind of players you need. Like he is going to come in, he's going to know his role. He knows how to use his body. He's 6'8". He's not quick by no means, but he uses his body the right way. And he's able to get shots off. So like that's such an important role for this Kentucky team. Like it's the missing piece. Like he is the missing piece. So yeah, feed off whatever you want to mention on that.
I think I do think he'll end up being a decent NBA player, but like I said, he's not going to come in and win SEC Player of the Year. I don't think he's going to be a first team All American. But what he does is to an offense with a guy like that. You know, if I'm ball side with him, I got him in the corner. To put it like dumb down basketball a little bit, if you have a guy that can shoot like that, his defender is going to help a little bit more onto his guy. He's going to be stuck to him. So I mean, you're opening up. You're playing 4-on-4 basketball at that point. And I mean, if you run 3-on-3 drills, and in any type of practice, the floor, I mean, becomes an ocean. And for one-on-one players like Zoom, like Alex Wilkins, Zoom is a playmaker. Alex Wilkins is a scorer. Okay, Zoom is a downhill guy. Driving kicks to Milan. I mean, this just the lane space that he will create just being on the floor would be huge. I mean, there may be games he scores 10 points, but Alex
What does
Wilkins
he
goes for
do?
20.
Yeah.
just because the floor is so open for those guys, and it's more than him just coming in and hitting 6 threes a game. It's a lot
Right.
more than that. And he's a capable defender too. You talk about him being slow, but look at 2 of the top 5 players in the league right now, Luka and Nikola Jokic. I mean, slower than molasses, but they
Yeah.
know how to use their bodies. They know
Right.
how to just play fundamental basketball, and they play at their pace. That's why
Right.
even the kids that I coach in high school, I'm saying, slow down. You do not have to be the fastest guy on the floor. Play at your pace and make the defender play at your place or play at your pace. Don't let them speed you up.
If
Be
you
what
were
you're
going,
comfortable with doing.
and I don't mean to cut you, if you were going to
No.
draw up an ideal perfect basketball player for the 1980s, Milan Monchilovich is exactly who you would draw up. 6'8", spread the floor, knockdown shooter, use your body, high basketball IQ. Like that he is like literally the perfect character that you would pick, you would draw. So with that being said, I keep coming back to like that is exactly what we're missing, DB. Like this team has potential. Now, have we seen them all play? No, we are counting like this is a whole new group. We are absolutely going to have to count on these guys coming in and playing at their best and connecting and it all working out. However, though, what you're seeing is you're going. I think this speaks a lot to Mark Pope. He is really trying to maybe, hopefully, kind of get a mixed, the best of both worlds of year one, year two. I'm going to get some athletes like he did last year, but I have to have a shooter or two. Like I've got to have it. And last year was your Cam Williams just didn't shoot the ball great early in the season. When he started shooting the ball great, then he gets hurt. Well, now you have him, and if we can land Monchilovich, now you're getting that variety. And then also, again, we keep not even like you're centering like this is Mark Pope's word. Like we were going, our number one priority was getting Malachi Marino back. You got him. So that's a big check. Like, I mean, you had the commitment, but then all of the cards that fell with him in the NBA, how good he was playing, how he was looking out in workouts, like you was able to get him back. Like that is a huge plus. So taking all that into consideration and adding Monchilovich to the mix, like you have just changed the dynamic of this team tremendously. Like again, I cannot speak on how important it is for us to land him. So now that we've talked about if we land him, DB, I think that he brings that excitement back. All right. Like he brings a little, I mean, not like, oh my goodness, we are the team, but he at least that you get that belief, I feel like. At least I do. Do you get belief like as far as like what we can do?
Well, I mean, I do because I mean, the big thing with Pope is like he can't get the big fish. Well, I mean, I would consider this a big fish. As soon as he entered,
Oh,
I'm sure
absolutely.
every coach went, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh!" I mean, look at the guys who are after him:
Now,
Tommy
hold on.
Lloyd,
Let's
Rick
not talk
Pitino.
about how it happened though. I mean, we're not going like we had
Well,
a lot of things go our way, but continue. But like,
no, right. But no, it definitely is. And like I said, I think last year, from my perspective, I thought with the roster construction, of course, I know the injuries happened, and it is what it is. But just watching the team that was out there, talent or no talent, whatever you want to call it, it just looks so vanilla and bleh, the roster construction after the injuries was not probably to what Pope was hoping for, but just the intensity of games and stuff. So that's what I worry about the most, even if we do get him. And it just goes back to exactly what you said. Everybody's got to buy in, and we'll see how they mesh together. Maybe last year was just, you know, what we thought was good just didn't work, and it just may have been that simple. I don't know. But getting him, I think, would kind of put all that on the back burner from last year, and it'd get the excitement back up, saying, "Okay, we have a chance. We can cause some damage here. Okay, and we're not playing Gonzaga, so no
yeah,
40 piece there. So
no, not hopefully don't have to look at that unless we draw them out in the tournaments to come. You know, but a lot of it too though, you look at, I mean, is as good as you think that if we do land him, our roster is, you can't help but look at other SEC teams. I mean, like, Florida's basically bringing their entire roster back. You turn your head, you look at Tennessee. Look at what Tennessee has done in the portal. You look at even a Vanderbilt, who just got Tyler Tanner back. Like that, Arkansas, Billy Richmond's coming back with a loaded freshman class. That's got, like, this is a tough league. So, to me, again, it's even more important that we get this type of player, because in order for us to even compete in the SEC, I mean, let's say that we don't get him, DB. Say Milan Monchilovich goes to Louisville, even though St. John's is kind of, I've heard, and we'll talk maybe some more on that here in a bit, they're kind of out of the mix, or in Arizona. Are you excited? Or is there still something missing? Like it's just not you ain't got that feeling if we don't land Monchilovich? Or is it one of those things that you're like, this roster has potential. We just got to see how it unfolds. Like, what is your inkling on if we don't land him? And if we don't land him after all this, my goodness.
Yeah, I know. My thing is, all right, so if let's start with this. If we land him, I'm very confident in the initial 5 to 6. Then the rest is still kind of an unknown.
Who do you think will be at this point?
Wilkins, Diallo, Milan, Malachi, and then probably Justin McBride.
Right.
Would probably be your starting 5. We don't really know much about the Usman, who's coming from overseas. His numbers aren't crazy,
right?
But you watch his tape, and it looks like a guy who could work in Pope's system. And then with Frank, is he going to stay healthy? You know, you don't know. Cam, I'm pretty comfortable with Cam Williams,
which being a 6-man, like, you're not going to find. Again, we are expecting big things, but I just, on pen and paper, based off last year, there's not going to be too many better 6-mans that are for the position that they're coming in for, I feel like.
No, I agree too. And but Hawthorne, we don't know. We'll try the Trent Noah experiment one more year, I guess. And I don't know about Reese Potter. Like, what is that? I don't. Is he just like a Brennan Canada, or is he? Because he played at Miami. He saw the floor at Miami, Ohio, that is. But like, is he an actual going to be getting minutes guy?
Yeah.
If he redshirted, I'm assuming that's the plan. Guys don't redshirt just to sit on the bench, But I think there would be a big difference in confidence between with Milan and without Milan. Because a month ago I was like, all right, let's roll. I feel comfortable with the guards. Big situation is atrocious.
Right. Well, I was sitting here thinking, like, it's kind of like even like Colton got on here. He's a season ticket holder. I mean, he literally was talking about, like, and at this point, whenever he made the statement, it was, at that point, we didn't know if Malachi, he was starting to raise in the draft boards. Didn't know if he was even going to come back. Milan wasn't even on our radar at that point, I felt like. Because this was right after the Tyron Stokes that he went to Kansas. But he's sitting there thinking, like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to sell my tickets. Like, and they're in the upper levels. Like, am I going to get my money back? Am I going to break even? Like, and I think that he genuinely is coming, when he says that, it's coming from a place of that there's just nothing to be excited about right now. I don't know the attraction. Like, other than Kentucky being Kentucky, which we know only goes so far in today's time. But there's just not that it factor, like, it's just like, man, I got the goosebumps. I got the vibes with this team. But now here we are again. I feel like we're on a roller coaster with this team like last year, except it's recruiting right now. Like, we were down, we were up. We were down, Tyron Stokes, and now we were up on that, and then we were down. Malachi Marino's going to the draft possibly. He's raising up in the draft boards. But now we're in a spot again where we are on a high thinking, okay, Pope, you got this chance. Turn the season around. Go into the summer. You got high hopes, high expectations again. That's good. That's positive stuff. That's what we need and want here at the University of Kentucky, and that's really all we can ask for at this point. I don't even know where I went with that. I got on a rampage. I don't know. Look, go ahead.
I will say that I feel like it needs to happen this weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
The longer it drags out,
Yeah.
the more I'm going to be like, okay, we just wasted our breath here. But
Yeah.
everything's pointing that direction, but it also pointed that direction with a lot of other players.
Right.
But everything's so unpredictable in today's era. You can't put all your eggs in the hopeful basket of it. But I'm just gonna hang my hat on and say he's going to Kentucky.
Oh, I like it.
I mean, what else do I got to lose, Dylan?
Right. I mean, that's a good point. And, like you said, in today's time, it doesn't take anything. Somebody could come out of nowhere. I feel like we're one of the only teams that has the money that, like, he's for sure looking for. But, you just never know. So, you mention that. Let's go ahead and get into some of these other teams. I guess on a good note, St. John's is kind of out of the mix, you would think, at this point. Most of the stuff that I've read this afternoon, I'm a little behind on some of it, maybe with the last 5 hours I was out on the golf course. So I've this morning though, they at that point last night, later in the night, they had signed Tunde Yesofu. I don't even know how you say his name, but big time gift for them at St. John's. He was a 6'5", 3-guard forward that played at Baylor. Pretty much your Monchilovich position, like that. Like they are going to be the same spot. So that kind of, one would think, most think, kind of throws St. John's out of the mix. Do you have any thoughts on that? Have you heard anything else?
No, that's pretty much all I've read too. I mean, there's some things it's like, they'll just throw St. John's name in there. But I don't, we can say they don't need him, but like if anybody had the opportunity to get the guy, they're going to find a way. But I really do feel like it's down to Louisville, Kentucky, and Arizona.
Right.
And I'm not that concerned with St. John's. Louisville, I'm terrified of. I'll just say it. I mean, they have, but I like how much money they have.
Yeah,
they spend a ton of money.
Yeah, I better not hear anything like, and we've already said that too. Like, if there is any team that deserves criticism if they don't perform, it is going to be them in Tennessee. Absolutely, I better hear it. I better get a specific number. I don't want a made up number. I want a specific number because it's got to be high 20s, if not reaching 30s, millions.
Well, it's like that. It's like after the end of the season when that one report came out, I forgot who it was from, maybe Fox Sports, that kind of broke down like the top 10 schools that just overall basketball operations, which included the NIL spending. And you start looking at those numbers and it's like, oh, Kentucky's not number 2. Oh, Kentucky's not number 3. Mm-hmm. Kentucky's like number 4.
Yeah.
But I do think that, and this, I guess, I don't know if this is just me just absolutely despising Louisville. I think Tennessee will be fine just because I do think Barnes is, he's one of the best to come around. But I want Louisville to fail so miserably after all this that they have gotten. I mean, they are loaded.
Yeah.
Absolutely loaded.
Well, and I think, though, with what you're saying, I think it kind of helps us. And the reason why I say that is because, look, just put yourself in Milan's shoes. Looking at this point, where you want to be. I mean, obviously he wants to make it to the NBA. I think that he has got to be looking at, okay, where is it that I think personally, DB, I think he is putting at perspective-wise, where is it that I can excel and make my draft stock rise more? And then the team's success in winning an NCAA championship second. Like that's what my gut, like, because, and I'm not saying that he doesn't want to win a national championship. It's not what I'm saying at all. Right. But from the perspective of, he definitely wants to go to the NBA. He waited it out so long. He may have already made a decision, but the man wants to be in the NBA. by him going to a Louisville team that is absolutely stacked, one could argue, is it enough food on the table for everyone? I don't know. You look at 2015 Kentucky. Yes, it was enough food, but at times it wasn't. Like, I mean, would I have liked to
Right.
have seen Devin Booker and Tyler Ulis starting over the Twins? Absolutely. But at this,
Exactly.
so I think that that's just my gut. Obviously, I don't have no reports on that, and I don't know Milan personally, but I just think that he's looking at system wise. Where can I go be a Batman? Like where can I kind of excel more in a system? And I look at that, and I just think that Kentucky screams number one. And I honestly think that Arizona would be option two over at Louisville, just given what's open and who is left with Cole Pete, who is left Arizona. That's another big get for the NBA, and I guess a loss for Arizona because that was somebody that kind of was on the border, and then all of a sudden Arizona wasn't even in the mix a week ago. Now all of a sudden they are. So do you think that Arizona is kind of more of a threat than Louisville, or are you just saying for the money aspect of things, like Louisville is going to be able to offer, or do you? I mean, if you disagree with me, that's fine. I mean,
No, I agree. I do think Arizona is higher on the food chain right now than Louisville, and I think a lot of it had to do with the uncertainty of Koa Pete. They didn't really know if he was going to go or come back, and then as soon as he declared, it was like, oh my God, Arizona's a top player now. Um, and I agree with you on on maybe his perspective. Of course, I'm just going through the quotes that he has said. He may be looking at, okay, at Kentucky they don't have the star. I can go there and be the star and really show everybody this is who I am.
right?
And then at that point, like if he goes to Kentucky, averages 20 a game, say, takes him to an Elite Eight. What's that look like for when he enters his name next
Yeah,
year? I'm assuming he's going next year. He's gone, but um, with Louisville, it's I don't know. I mean, Pat Kelsey made us be a dog when it comes to recruiting. I don't know. I don't. It's either that or the money. I don't know. But I agree. I think Arizona's probably more of a threat than Louisville just
hmm
because of the availability that they have on their roster. Them being Arizona, Tommy Lloyd being a great coach, and they
yeah.
have money. They have money too.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think that also the confidence of a Kentucky fan, like there is no reason other than the fact that we've lost out on every single person that we've tried to get. Other than that, I'm not seen or heard any reason why we shouldn't be confident that we are getting, like you said, you said market book it. I think we are getting Monchilovich. I mean, the man has said that he likes Pope. He thinks he would fit well in his system. He thinks that he didn't have the right team surrounded by his coaching style last year. So like he's paid attention to that. So he's dropping the coach by name. And obviously that's Kentucky stuff. So I don't look at Louisville stuff, but I've not seen any
Yeah.
reports of him dropping a Tommy Lloyd by name or a Pat Kelsey by name, or even saying anything of like, oh, that'd be a great system for me. I mean, have you seen
Right.
anything?
No, and the thing about these quotes is, I mean, these were actual video interviews that were
Right.
taken at the draft. It's not some guy interviewing him and writing an article and twisting the words a little bit. This is word for word what he said on camera. And I mean, him just saying, I like his system, I like Pope. I mean, that's like, that's why I'm saying, how could he at this, I mean, what does Kentucky do to not get him? Like, what has to happen? It's got
Well,
to be, and it's happened.
it's happened. Like we've seen it. Like we have seen that.
It's like, what's going on, and but I don't know. I feel pretty confident about it. Like I said, just from some of the things that I've seen today, but also it's so hard to believe really anybody that says these things.
Yeah.
But when you hear it from the horse's mouth, like he did in that interview, it's like, all right, why shouldn't I think he's not coming here?
Yeah. So I mean, like, we'll mark it right now. Bluegrass State of Mind. We believe that Momchilovich is coming to the University of Kentucky.
Heard
We
it
have
here
no
first.
we have no reports on that. Don't know no insiders. That's just a gut feeling.
Oh,
Well, I sure hope
it'll
so.
break my heart, Dylan. It's gonna break my heart.
I know, and that's the thing. We always do. We always something like I cannot believe I convinced myself deep down that like Tyrone Stoke is actually going to change it up and come to Kentucky. Like I literally was like convinced myself. Like I told myself, "Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it," and I did at the end. And then my man pulls up a Kansas Jayhawk NBA 2K, and I'm like, I don't. Oh, I just.
I was never there. I was never there with it. Never had a good feeling.
I don't know, but I feel like that's with what I do in general, just because I want to be optimistic and hope for the best.
And that's the best way to have the outlook is be optimistic. I'm just so pessimistic,
Yeah.
specifically about Kentucky basketball right
Well,
now.
yeah, and I think that also, it's so easy because of everything that like, can we not just have one good thing fall for us? Like we need this so bad. Like I know that with everything that has happened this off season, Mark Pope just needs a win, man. Like he just needs a good PR win, a big time recruit, a big fish. Just and I don't care how it happened. I know we're poking jokes of like, oh well, he got lucky. Like it just so happened that this happened, this happened, this happened. Doesn't matter. If he's in a University of Kentucky uniform next year, it happened. Let's rock. Let's ride. Um, but let's kind of shift gears, kind of leaving the Momchilovich thing. Hope he comes to Kentucky. Kind of talking about Louisville and Kentucky. I do want to talk about the game. So the Louisville Kentucky basketball schedule or the matchup came out. The date for that heated rival has been released, and it has actually been backed up again now to December 12th. Last year was the first time that I can ever remember it not being played in the month of December, and actually was a whole month before what's going to be playing this year. It was played last year on November 11th, very early in the season. What are your thoughts on that? Do you like that it's been backed up again in December? Did you like an early matchup? Would you even like to see it backed up to the end of the season, kind of like football, where it's the last game of the season, which I know football, basketball is a little different on how
Yeah.
that works, obviously, but maybe not I guess I shouldn't ask it, would you like to see it at the end of the game, but would you like to see it maybe as like one of the last games that we played before SEC, which it technically is, but like, where's your feelings at on like where we're playing that game at this year, I guess?
No, it's like you said. I don't remember a time when that game wasn't played on the last Saturday of December, right before conference play, and I loved it. You get a late. I mean, because by that point, both teams know what they are.
Right.
You've pretty much figured out your identity.
Absolutely.
So when you have that rivalry game so early in the season, it could go either way.
Yeah.
I mean, blowouts possibly. I don't know, but I don't know. And it may just be me being biased because I grew up on it, literally being that. I mean, it's like the Saturday after Christmas. They always played.
It was December 31st, my birthday. That's how it was played forever.
Yeah, and I love that. I loved it. But I'm glad it's back in December, but I still wish it was a little bit deeper. I want that to be the last non-con game before regular season. Of course, I know they do the conference challenges or whatever kind of
Right.
and I wish we'd go ahead and get that out of the way too. I hate that. I hate that you play 8 SEC games and then all of a sudden you got to play Iowa State at Iowa State and then turn around and go to Florida on Tuesday or something like that. It's so stupid. They need to do that. That realistically should be the last non-con game before everybody goes into conference play. Once you're in conference play, that should be the only thing you're doing is playing conference games because like a Big 12 and SEC, that 18-game stretch is brutal as it is. Why throw another top 25 team in there from a different conference? I like it. I like the challenges, but I just don't like when they're played.
The timing, right? Yeah, and
Yeah,
I agree because like you're so caught up in conference play, it kind of almost maybe throw your rhythm off for your coaching staff too, not just even your players, but just like how you're prepping. Because like you go from knowing practically everything, which you should know everything in general, but it's all these teams in conference, how they play, what's going on. And then it's just all of a sudden you switch up and go, like you said, could be completely across the America, and you're playing Iowa State or whoever it may be, in whatever challenge, the ACC or Big Ten challenge, that whoever it is that we usually do. I do like it, like you said. I just wish it was at a different time. I love that we backed it up though, back to the December game. It just the only thing that I did like about it being earlier was that it provided a big time game early, but the negative to that is what you said. You really don't know who you are because at that point in time, whenever we played that game last year, DB, I think we played like 2 or 3 those non-Power 5 conference games that like you blow out, you win by like 30, and you don't really, I guess you don't really have a good idea of who you are still. And obviously, when you play a heated rival like that, I personally want to see my team at their best. And that's really not, I guess, what you would get on most occasions with it being that early. That also brings me to this question. Didn't write this down. So when you think of heated rivals in college basketball, DB, you think of probably Kentucky, Louisville, Duke, North Carolina. Who's another one that you? I mean, those are the two that I
Gonzaga
immediately.
St. Mary's is always
Oh
a
yeah,
banger.
yeah,
Love it.
Gonzaga, St.
Love it.
Mary's.
Honestly, I mean, I almost got shunned out of my group message back home. I think that the Kentucky and Tennessee basketball rivalry is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And now I know Pope past 2 years has went 4-0 in regular season, but go back to when Rick Barnes started at Tennessee and just look at the numbers that's happened since he's been at Tennessee against Kentucky. It's remarkable. Now, I don't think the hate factor is as big as it is in Louisville, the Louisville game. Because every year when we play Louisville, it's the worst day of my life. Leading up to that game, it's the worst day of my life. I psych myself out. I hate it. I can't stand it until the game's over. So that was one good point about having it early in the season is just get it out of the way.
Yeah, just get out of the way.
Just get out of the way. But back to the rivalry thing. Gonzaga St. Mary's has always been one of my favorites to watch. Of course, that's going to look a little different now. But with college basketball rivalries, it's hard to look past Duke and UNC really for anything.
Do you think that's the best rival in college basketball?
Oh, it's one of the best in all of sports.
Really?
Oh my, yeah, no doubt. It's once again, go back and look at the numbers. I mean, there's like all time, it's like a 10-point differential between all the wins and losses. And then just what, like the Duke UNC game at UNC last year, that was probably top 3 game last year and one of the best I've watched recently. But no, hands down, it's number 1. There's no debating it. There's no debating it.
I'm not debating. I think for me, it is. Obviously, it's top 2 for me. I think, honestly, as childish as this may seem, I think College Game Day has made me hate that rival more and more and not want to be a part of it and think that it's just way too much. I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but no matter who's playing, no matter what's going on, they are at that game on game day, whether it be the first time around or second time around. Like I take this for example, not last year, the year before, whenever Arkansas came to Lexington, that was the same night I believe that UNC and North Carolina were playing. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like that was right. And they decided to go there. And the amount of, whether you want to call it pressure, PR, drama, whatever it was that was leading up to that game, Kentucky was rocking because at that moment, everything was going good for Kentucky. Arkansas was like 0-5 in SEC play at that time. And they decided to go there, and that just really made me mad. I was like, what are y'all doing? Like, you have a Hall of Famer, John Calipari, coming back to Lexington for the first time, and it wasn't a good breakup. It was an ugly one. Why are you going there? And I don't know. I feel like and then you get on there and Jay Billis. I can't stand Jay Billis. He drives me nuts. Then you get on there and Jay Williams. Like there's so much UNC Duke guys on there. I blame College Game Day for my hatreds towards that rival.
I agree. I think it was actually last year when I'm picking up on the point that you're talking about. It was the Duke at UNC game. Of course, like I said, phenomenal game. UNC hits the buzzer beater, and then you have to hear it on Jay Billis. Oh, they shouldn't be on the court. They shouldn't be on the court. And I forget who was calling the game with him, but he's losing his mind. Oh my God. And Jay Billis is just sitting there, get off the court, get off the court, But after they had called the game was over. I'm pretty sure UK was playing Tennessee that night on ESPN after that game.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And they sat there with the camera on Jay Billis. Kentucky's already 5 minutes into their game against Tennessee, and they're just rolling. They're just rolling the UNC.
You're exactly right. I remember now.
By the time it flipped over to the UK Tennessee game, we're already past the first media. It's like 14 minutes to go in the first half. I'm sitting there having to watch it on my phone while they're
on ESPN Plus or something.
Yes, that did drive me crazy. That drove me nuts. Like that game ended. Hey, we're done. We can talk about it tomorrow on ESPN.
Yeah.
So
I think that I don't know how we got here, but let's just keep going with it. I think that College Game Day in college basketball has got to figure something out, because when you look at College Game Day in college football, it's night and day. Like, you best believe, like, every Saturday morning, I am locked in, waiting for that theme song. It's of whoever it is. And I mean, my eyes are glued to the TV. Like, I mean,
love it.
Yeah.
Coffee's ready in hand
exactly.
at 7:30, ready to roll.
Ready to rumble. You just waiting for it to get there for those ESPN guys to turn it over. And I couldn't tell you the last time, DB, that I sat down and actually watched College Game Day for college basketball. Because
I'm not even joking. I don't think I ever have. I really don't.
If they're at Kentucky, I would. But when was the last time? I would love to know when the last time College Game Day was at Kentucky. They didn't go last year.
I couldn't tell you.
Were they there the year before? Like, is there a hatred? Like, what is it? And while we're on here, talking about hatred of teams, I know that you are a big, big Indiana hater. So let me ask you this. Do you even think, whenever people are hopping on the train saying that, oh, Kentucky's going to be the next Indiana, you've not been on here where we've talked a little bit about that. Do you think that's kind of bogus? Do you think that, like pump the brakes? Like, I feel like you may have some thoughts on that.
We're not even close to being in the position that they're in. I mean, we made the tournament last year. And I mean, Indiana has cycled through coaches since Tom Crean.
Yeah.
And they have done absolutely, and it's not due to the lack of talent. They've still pulled in some pretty nasty players.
Mm-hmm.
But Indiana is, and I mean, I guess Indiana fans could say this about us with Calipari, but I mean, I've studied Indiana basketball history like the back of my hand. I know it. Okay, they drive me nuts. Since, of course, they broke up with Bobby Knight. Okay, he didn't even come back to Assembly Hall.
Come on, talk to him. Let me.
He didn't come back to Assembly Hall until, like, he almost died. I think he came back a year before he died. And then, they go through another rough patch. Then they hire Tom Crean. Okay. Tom Crean goes to 2 Sweet 16s, wins the Big Ten. And I think they went to the Sweet 16, lost to Kentucky in 2012, which 2012 was their national championship year for basketball, even though they didn't win the national championship.
Wofford for the win!
Oh my God, they celebrate it. They celebrate it like it's a holiday. But I think they go to the round of 32. Then they beat us with Yogi Ferrell, if you remember that.
I do remember that. I forgot about Yogi.
Then they fired it. They just fired him. And where have they been since him? Nowhere. And then go back and look at the tenure that Tom Crean had, and then look at the rest of their history. You could argue Tom Crean's the second best coach in Indiana basketball history, and Indiana's supposed to be this big, pristine blue blood program. It's a joke, Dylan. It is a joke. They're a joke. When they brought back the Indiana UK game, I was actually kind of just like, why? I don't even want to play them. Like, I don't want anything to do with Indiana. It drives me nuts.
And that's also one of those, like, older generation, like, that was what they grew up on. Like, for me and for you, like, I don't even consider Indiana remotely a rival whatsoever. Like even before them, I got Louisville, I got Tennessee, I've got at this point Arkansas now, I got
Mm-hmm.
Florida. Um, who am I missing? I mean, I for sure have those four teams above an Indiana.
Duke's still up there, and we
Oh,
don't even play
Duke,
Duke
yeah,
every
Duke. We don't
year.
even
You
play
know,
Duke, right? Yeah, absolutely. My goodness, I'm watching this Spurs game. They're up 92-66. Wembanyama, he is an absolute freak.
he's unbelievable,
It's
unbelievable.
crazy.
Gosh, Dylan, now you got me all scrambled egg brained over this. I'm telling you, man, it kills me.
On the what? The Indiana thing?
Indiana, I can't, I hate it.
If we have any Indiana fans listening, they're gonna be like, "Why does this guy just not like Indiana so much? You don't even play
Well,
us hardly."
if I going back to the holiday thing. I used to have a friend in college who was from Indiana, and that Watford Day, oh
Oh
my
yeah.
gosh! I mean, they lay out the turkey for it. Turkey dinner for Mr. Watford.
Hey, it is injected in my brain whenever he says that Wofford for the win. Like I literally, it is ingrained because I was like, what just happened? They stormed the court and it's just wild. Well, hey, we're just kind of everywhere tonight. After the whole Milan Monchilovich thing, but this weekend is huge. This again, I will reiterate, can change if we see a Mark Pope year for. Obviously, we know that Mark Pope has got to go win games. He's got to make a deep run. But adding Milan Monchilovich to the mix of that definitely gives the University of Kentucky and Mark Pope a better chance. That you can't, that's undeniable. So be on watch for what are we gonna call it? Milan watch. I mean, like I feel like at this point, Kentucky's got to come up with something. I mean, we've been, or just at any point, big fish watch. I feel like we've had plenty of times we've had some big fish circling, like we said, and we're just watching, waiting. If he doesn't make, we'll end on this. If DB, if he does not make a decision this weekend, do you think that, I know we've touched on a little bit, where are your hopes at that he's going to land with Kentucky still at that point?
It's over.
You
I mean,
really, so
I
you
generally
really think that
I
if he
just
doesn't,
yeah. I mean, like I said, and a lot of it has to do, I think, with me just reading everything of like,
yeah,
It's probably Kentucky. It's probably Kentucky, and it's like, okay, the longer he holds out, that only means he's fielding offers.
yeah.
He's fielding more money. So maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I am. Maybe he commits 4th of July. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he gets here, I don't care.
Oh, I did forget to say this. I did see a report. I don't know if this is true or not, but it said Milan Momcilovic is actually represented by the same agency they believe as Alex Wilkins
Cam
and
Williams.
Braden Hawthorne.
Oh, yeah.
Also, this is big news. We didn't get to talk about this, which is fine. But Braden Hawthorne is switching jersey numbers from number 22 to a different jersey. Who wears number 22? Milan Monchilovich. Like literally everything you see and hear, you think Kentucky, Kentucky. Don't break our hearts, Milan Monchilovich. We need this. We need you. Come to the Bluegrass State, please. Hey, thanks for joining me tonight, DB. Couldn't have done. I mean, I could have, but it would not have been as fun, and it wouldn't have been the show that it was. Appreciate you coming on. You gonna join us again soon?
Absolutely. Just whenever you call my name,
That's right. That's
I'll
what
try
we
my
need.
best.
Well, hey, for the listeners out there, we appreciate y'all. This has been another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. And as always, DB, go Cats.
Go Cats.
That's a wrap for this episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, be on the lookout for our social media pages and be sure to follow them. We've got plenty more stories, insights, and conversations coming your way. And if you really loved it, make sure to share it with a friend. From the hills to the hollers, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep that Kentucky spirit strong.